a lot of discussions go on about this question of Microsoft Word versus Scrivener. And because I have some experience with Word in this respect, I thought I'd put together a little video. I can't actually address Word versus Scrivener. I'm not a Scrivener expert, but I can talk about Word doing Scrivener-like stuff. And we can look at some of the things that are built into the system, which actually are really, really useful for organizing large projects like the writing of long fiction. And what I can do in this case is introduce you to the manuscript in various stages of my novel, The Bullet Catcher's Daughter. And we can look through at how I use the various functionalities of Microsoft Word to construct that, to help myself through the issue of getting it organized partly in my own head as much as anything. I have, through my dyslexia, I have various working memory issues, so I find the working with the plot of a novel rather challenging, because the plot of a novel for me certainly is more than a headful, so I need various ways to help me rationalize that task. So here we are on a fairly early version of The Bullet Catcher's Daughter. I can see from the word count there's 30,000 words here. The eventual manuscript went up to about 84,000. So we're fairly early on. The first thing you'll probably notice is that I tint the paper, and again that's a dyslexia issue. I find it easier to read off a slightly lower contrast, but this is something you can do for yourself, and you may find it's more restful for the eyes if you are working on a document for a long time. So you can go into the, I believe it's the design menu, yes, page color, and there are various options to set the color. So that's what I do. So the next menu we need to go into is the view menu, and you'll see there is an option here, the navigation pane, to show the navigation pane, which we can check, and having done so it will open up this sidebar. Now the sidebar is in some senses problematic because it's reducing our screen space. You can actually drag it down to be quite small. I've opened it up in this case so that we've got room to see the various things in full that I've put there. And here you will find that there are some navigation things here. Now I'm going to click on part 1. You see here where there's a little arrow, and it will open it up and show me all the chapters that I have there. I can click again to close it down, and I can click on part 2 to open up the chapters, and you can see I'd only written up to chapter 20 at that stage. I was also constructing a glossary as I went along, as this is set in an alternate history with some unfamiliar terminology, so I put all that, the glossary, also in the sidebar in this way. So I'm going to show you how we do that. And for this we're going to need to go to the Home menu and to look at a part of the Microsoft Word's functionality which we don't often, in introductions to Microsoft Word we don't look at very much, but we really should, because a lot of the power of Microsoft Word is vested in these things which are called styles. So I'm going to scroll down now, and we can see a bit of the text of the novel. And I'm going to just highlight at random a piece of text, and we can see that in the styles menu the normal style is outlined, and that is because the bulk of the body of the text is set up, I have defined as normal. Now let's open this again, and we can see that things that are normal text are not being shown in the sidebar. What is being shown in the sidebar are things which are defined as, in this case, heading 2. So all my chapters I have defined as heading 2. So I can just go to a piece of text and I can click on the style I want, and it will define it as that. And I also have used heading, the other heading here, heading 1, and so I'm going to move back to there, to this place which says Part 1, and highlight that, and you can see this is defined as heading 1. So we have a hierarchy of headings, and you can have heading 3 if you wanted, and so on. But I only use 2 in my hierarchy, Part 1, Part 2. So this is part of the way I organize the structure of a novel. I think of it in terms of parts, and so that gives me the opportunity to have these collapsible menus in the side where I can look at Part 1 or jump to Part 2 and so on. So this is a hierarchy of organization in the way I think about the novel. The other thing to notice, and I'm going to, in this case, I'm going to go on to another version, a later version of the novel. And here you see we've moved on. We've got about 85,000 words here in this version. And I'm going to open up one of the sections here so we can see that the thing is much more developed. And so the whole thing here. So you can see that what I've done is for each chapter, I also, another thing I should say, sorry, that I can just click on any of these things in the navigation bar and it will take me in the document to that place. So what I can do, and what I have done, is give my chapters a number, chapter 1, but also a title. Now, I don't actually use chapter titles in my published books, by and large. I don't think I've used them at all. And so why have I got them in here? Well, simply because it becomes incredibly easy now for me to remember what is what and to navigate my way around. So I can see, maybe this chapter, The Liars, I can click on that and I will be taken immediately there, and because I will remember what happens in The Liars, I'll be able to get to it straight away. Pan bread and red wine. Click on that. Here we go, and we're immediately at that chapter. So what I will do eventually, and here for this I'm just going to go to the final version that I've got for you to see, is I will strip out all the chapter names. So they are just simply given numbers as they will appear in the final book, because by this stage I'm getting it ready to send off, and I'm stripping out all that kind of stuff. And also in this case I've stripped out all the parts. I happen to have left a little gap so that I can at least see by eye where the various parts are, but I've decided not to put those into the final book either, so the person reading the book will just see chapter 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on, and that architecture of different acts, if you like, of the story, that is there only in sort of this ghostly form for me to just be able to check out what's what. And that's it really. It's an incredibly simple system. It's a system that I don't know, it uses a lot of the capacity of Microsoft Word that perhaps we don't ordinarily use within the styles area. It has all kinds of other little uses. So for example, if I'm trying to keep track of the overall rhythm of the thing, I can go into the view menu, I can look at the outline menu, and here I can just go, I can sort of navigate around, and let's say I want to know how many words there are in part 3. I click there and I can see now that there are 20,240 words in part 3, and so on. So you can, it's a very powerful tool. May not do all the things that Scrivener does, but on the other hand, Microsoft Word does do some other rather nice things. So it's not Microsoft Word versus Scrivener. I don't think that's right. They are doing slightly different things, and if you happen to know already Microsoft Word and you are familiar with it and you have a good understanding of it, then it might be worth looking at exploring the wonderful world of styles and seeing what it can do for you. I should also say that through styles you can make sort of global changes. So if you right click on one of the styles, you can modify it, and you can do things like changing the font or line spacing or whatever you want through that, and it will globally change for your entire document. That's it. So the novel, The Bullet Catcher's Daughter, went on to be shortlisted for the Philip K. Dick Award, which was a very lovely thing. And just to finish off here, here's a picture of myself and the designer of the cover, which was just an amazing cover, Will Stale, in Seattle at Norwestcon back a few years ago, celebrating that shortlisting. And that's it. I will leave it at that, and I hope that's been useful. And maybe Scrivener's for you, maybe Word's for you. It doesn't matter. Whatever works is the thing.